Welcome to Mishna study on Masechet Peah Perek Vav Mishnah Yod. Over here in this Mishnah, we're going to speak about Shich'ha by garlic and onions, and we'll explain why it would be unique, why we would think they may not be, or why there maybe really isn't, right? So let's discuss that. And also Tivuash Shahat, which Harambam is going to explain as grain that is, you're harvesting it, you're cutting it before it's fully grown, right? So you're destroying it, right? You're destroying the grain, you're harvesting it before it's ripened. So that's what we're really going to focus on for the most part of the Mishnah. We'll explain as we go forward. כל התימונים בארץ, כגון הלוף והשום והבשרים, רבי יהודה אומר אין להם שכחה, והחכמים אומרים יש להם שכחה. So firstly, you have tivuah, you have grain, shahat. It's right, it's given for really, literally to be destroyed. Right, Rambam explained this earlier as well in our Masechet. And remember, by the two fields of Peah, with something that splits two fields, if you had shahat, right, that would split the two fields. So over here, it's something that's not fully grown. It's harvested too early. If you look at it, actually over here, this translation Harambam actually translates it differently than the Maor and Kapach, and I prefer their translations. This is a different one, and this translation actually has more of an animal fodder for horses, and other Mefarshim explained it that way as well, which is probably how it made it into this translation of Harambam. But we're going to explain like Harambam did earlier, and as it's translated over here by Kapach and others from the original Arabic, and that is that it's to a grain that's harvested too early and it's destructive, right, to the grain. Or la aluma, right? Or you harvest them in alumot. Alumot are small bundles, as opposed to omarim, which are bigger bundles. Over here, the aluma are small bundles, so he gathers them and he splits them into he harvests them into these little smaller bundles, and he doesn't make big bundles out of these smaller ones, right? What they would do is they would harvest them into small little piles, little bundles, and they would take these smaller bundles and make one big bundle out of it. So he didn't do that. Or agideh hashum va'agudot hashum, right? What's the difference between agideh hashum and agudot hashum? It literally means like bundles of garlic, right? So one is agideh hashum, is talking about the clove of garlic, right? It's in its natural bundle, right? It's in its natural clove. So that's agideh hashum. Agudot hashum is when the garlics are bundled up together. And betzalim, similarly onions, right? When the onions are bundled up together, right? Onions don't have a natural, and so anything natural that brings, all the bulbs of onions, right? It's one bulb per item. The garlic, you have different, the clove of garlic has many pieces of garlic in there. So that's the reason you only have agudot hashum, agudot betzalim, and laim shich'ha. All these do not have shich'ha. There is no shich'ha. You're allowed to go back and retrieve all of these. The reason is because you did not make them into bundles. You did not make them into omarim, right? They're not bundles. Next part of the Mishnah. So anything that is literally tamun, so it's hidden, it's grown in the ground, like luf. Luf is a type of onion, shum, garlic, betzalim, onions. Rabbi Yehuda Omer en lahim shich'ha. Rabbi Yehuda says there is no shich'ha for these because you naturally miss them. They're in the ground already. You're not going to pick up on them. No, yesh lahem shich'ha. These have shich'ha. If you forget them, it's as if like anything else that you have to leave them for the aniyim. Halacha is not like Rabbi Yehuda, rather like Chachamim, that all these bulbs, garlic, onions, if you forgot them in the ground, there is shich'ha for them. But if you bundle them up, you pick them out, you bundle them up afterwards, then over there is no shich'ha for these items.